Hi everyone, it's Roger and Jeremy here from What's on Disney Plus, and in this video we're going to be talking about our thoughts of Coco. This is a video that we do every single week where we kind of look back at a classic Disney movie that's available on Disney Plus, and they're available early for patrons and also our YouTube channel members, and then they're released to everybody else each and every Sunday. So Jeremy, this is his first podcast that we've done together. He's been writing on the site for a while, but I'll just let Jeremy introduce himself to you guys.
Yes, my name's Jeremy. I started writing almost a year ago when I found Roger's article asking for help for the website, and it's been a lot of fun writing and reviewing a lot of the movies, and writing some lists and coming up with that battle series, which is a lot of fun for me as well.
Yeah. Well, there's the kind of thing I thought this year, kind of like get a few extra voices in and speak to some different people on the team. And it's also nice for me, especially, as we're all stuck at home so much more, kind of any excuse to have a chat is always a good thing. That's the way I'm looking at it. So Coco is going to be the one we're going to kick off with. We watched this one on Christmas Day. It was actually on the BBC. So I didn't actually watch it on Disney Plus because one of those things, if it was in, when you turn on the TV and there's a movie coming on and it's like, you end up sitting there for the entire thing. This was the one on Christmas Day because watched it. I've seen this one a couple of times before. It's actually probably one of my favorite Pixar movies. But what did you think of Pixar's Coco?
I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I watched it in October when it was on the Halloween things.
Yeah.
On the Halloween collection. So I watched it then. It was I had not seen it since it came out. I like rented it from Redbox when it came out to watch it originally because I love the Pixar movies. They're usually even the worst ones are still pretty good from Pixar. So I was really excited, and I loved looking into the past about that one, how Disney took the time to actually get the cultural references right for Coco, because we can look through some of the stuff pre-2000s and see a lot of not so great cultural representation in Disney work. So I loved seeing that. I watched the music from Coco at the Hollywood Bowl that Disney Plus put up, and that really got me in the mood to watch Coco again. Benjamin Bratt was great, and it just, while it wasn't the greatest appeal, just, oh, hey, here's songs in here, we're going to talk about it with some random person that you don't know who it was. That was a great aspect. And Remember Me is a fun song and is a sad song depending on who sings it and how they sing it, and it really drove the story.
Actually, Remember Me is it's kind of quite a personal. It was because when the movie originally came out, literally my grandmother died literally like that month, the same month, and I mean she was like 96, and I think that's where it really kind of got me, was obviously that movie. I mean, I watched it I remember the first time, kind of got to the end, and it was like, it really hit me because I was kind of going through something a bit similar to that myself. And it's my last grandparent to go and all the rest of it. And it was just kind of one of the things of that song has such a different meaning for me, of like, when you say like it being fun, obviously, when he's singing it and then the bell drops on it, it's very upbeat and lifting. But when it's like, just, especially like him singing it to his grandma, that was the one movie of just like, even on Christmas watching again, I'm like, I had tears and stuff. It was, that song is like connected itself to a part of my life, I think, in some ways. And that's what movies can do. That sometimes you can make that connection, and that never disappears.
Yeah, Pixar is very good about bringing joy out of sadness.
Yeah, it's I love that. I mean, I love Mexico. I love learning about Mexican culture. I've visited a number of the Mayan temples down right through the bottom end of Mexico, and I've been there about like 5-6 times. I absolutely love Mexico, so I'm I think that's because of that. I have it just has everything in this movie that's kind of just captures me, of just like really, and it's just something fresh and a different. We don't tend to have a lot of Mexican culture here in the UK, so therefore everything, it felt very fresh and new, which is always nice.
Yeah, I lived in Texas for 6 years, right? The state's on the Mexican border. I lived a long way. I lived in the northern part of the state, but the culture makes its way up through the entire state There's a lot of Tejanos, of
Mm.
people of Mexican descent, who, when Texas split from Mexico, their family stayed there and they're recognized as Americans now, and but they still represent the Mexican culture
Yeah,
in Texas. And so for me, I was able, because I'd been exposed to it so much in
yeah.
that time living in Texas, I was able to identify where they were right, where they were wrong,
Mm.
and they were about 90% right, which is
Yeah.
good, really good for anything Disney's done.
Mm. And I think as well, they get the right team and and I think it was, it's done authentic, and I just really, it just, I think the music, I mean, it's very bright and colorful. Then it's not like they did obviously have all those skeletons, but they're not scary.
Yeah.
They're not scary skeletons. It's done very kind of tongue in. It reminds me of like classic stuff. And then I remember one year, even my nephew dressed up as Manuel, with all the face paint stuff, and
Right.
that's what is not scary, which I think is good about with skeletons.
Yeah, I have a coworker whose son loves this movie, and
Yeah,
so when I told him, I'm like, I'm gonna watch it and write a review for it, she's like, send me the review right away. I want to read it to my son. He went as De La Cruz for Halloween this year, so he was all about Coco. So
yeah. I
it
just
was
I
a
just
lot of
find as
fun for them.
yeah, it's a good, and as well as that, I mean, it's been constantly kind of in the trending tab, kind of jumps in and out a little bit on there, and it's just nice to see kind of kids, because I don't know if kids might necessarily, younger ones might kind of get it, but it's very bright, very colorful. I think they'll obviously like the story, but there's enough there again for adults, which is what Pixar are great at.
And I love the Latin flair in music. I
Yeah.
love the Latin flair in my food and Latin flair in my music. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did have the soundtrack on my phone for a while and was just like listening to it, because certain songs kind of, but yeah, there was, I think it's that one thing, like I said, would like remember me. There's like so many different versions of it, but the music is, so well done. And I also just love how the relationship is with his, obviously with his great granddad, and that whole thing kind of builds up throughout the whole movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a real kind of, it's one of those things like watching it again on Christmas, of just going, man, this is so good. And it's a shame, really. I think like here in the UK, it was a bit of an odd one, because it actually came out in like maybe like 4 months later than it came out, like for, I think, just before Halloween in the US, and then we didn't get it to nearly Valentine's. So at which point a lot of the hype had kind of gone online, and thankfully Disney doesn't do it too often anymore. But I remember when it came out in cinemas, it was like, no, I might as well wait now, because I've already, the buzz had already died down. I remember
Yeah.
like watching it again. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then I said, the advantage of Disney Plus obviously is everything is available when you want it. But I can see why kids just keep going back and rewatching it over and over and over again.
Oh, absolutely. I remember the Pixar rankings I did earlier
Yeah,
last year now, where I had this one eighth, but I'd only seen it the one time, like right after
yeah,
it came out. I may have to rank it higher when in a reevaluation of that, because it was
yeah.
so good and
I think as
so.
well, I think the thing is, like with the Pixar rankings, it's kind of, because everyone has different ones, and I think again, when you watch it as an adult, you watch it slightly different to a kid. Like things like Up suddenly obviously are much. We catch it. I mean, Soul over Christmas was, it's such a weird movie of just like, what I think of, like, because like wasn't sure if kids like it, and I think Coco is a lot better at that. I
Yeah,
think
I
Coco,
don't see
yeah.
a lot of meet and greets with Soul. You can get some more meet and greets with characters from Coco.
Yeah, the meet and greet for Coco, he just the puppet just looks fantastic. When they put it outside of the Epcot pavilion, or the Mexican pavilion in Epcot, and there's lots of talk, constant talk of turning that into, a Coco. And it's like, yeah, this it just makes so much sense to do it. But anything else from Coco that's kind of caught your eye over, that kind of instantly, that brings sort of a smile to your face?
You've covered most of
Yeah.
the things that I truly love. The relationship with his great grandfather,
Mm.
uh, that kind of makes me a little jealous. Both of my grandfathers passed by the time I was 9. One of them passed
Yeah.
when I was 4 months old, so I didn't even meet him. I mean, I met him,
Yeah.
but I have no memory of that.
Yeah.
So it's what he got in the afterlife. There is something I really wish I could have. I would love to experience that with my grandfathers.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing, isn't it? Of how, like, because I always remember having this conversation once with my dad, because like he didn't know his, and it's like, you know, not, you know, mine was, I was in my 30s, probably nearly my 30s before one of them went. But yeah, is that kind of the whole thing with your grandparents? I think Coco really pulls in on that so much better, and just, you know, the remembrance and passing it down, and there's just so much to be learned. There's one thing that I really liked about it as well, was the use of like the big dragon and the big cat, and you know, these kind of weird characters, which in some way didn't really make a huge amount of sense, but I think there's enough there to kind of keep kids entertained and all the rest of it with them. But
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, it's I still think it's up there with probably one of my favorite Pixar movies, and very, very high. You know, I'd probably say 4.5 out of 5. I'm not very good at giving it a 5, to be honest, but it probably is for kind of close end up of it.
Yeah, I think I've given 5 for like The Empire Strikes Back,
Yeah.
and like 1 or 2 other things. I don't give a lot of 5s. I will give a lot of 4s.
Yes.
I'm very, you know, I'm very positive on a lot of things. So
Yeah.
a lot of things other people would not give 4s to, I would give 4s, but I don't push it to 5 unless it's just blows
Yeah.
me away.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still some issues, I think, with Coco. I'm still not convinced on how he looks. Manuel, kind
Yeah.
of, especially as the boy, it's very generic. I think, you know, he could be popped into
Yeah.
almost any movie, whereas that's maybe the only one thing with Coco, is that he's not so distinguishable, when I think, because he's a human. I mean, at least
Hmm.
you know, this is a human that didn't turn into an animal. That's, you know, that seems to
Right.
be the trend that they tend to do. But overall, again, Coco was a really lovely movie. Absolutely adored it. Any final thoughts before we head off on this one?
No,
No.
you pretty much covered everything that I had on it. So.
Yeah, that's cool. On that note, guys, I'll just say a huge thank you again to everyone for watching this review video. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Coco in the comments below. Remember to go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Again, a huge thank you to all of our supporters over at Patreon and YouTube channel members. Remember, you get access to these episodes earlier than everybody else. And on that note, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back soon. Laters.
Bye.